Hey guys, how's it going? Happy weekend. Yeah, today is, what day is today? Saturday. Gosh, I can't keep track anymore. How is everyone doing? So I have, hi Gita, Gita's here, yay. Okay, Gita. Hey,
Hi, how are you?
I'm good, how are you?
I'm good, thank you.
So this topic tonight is a popular one. So I had I had parents text me and sending their questions privately because they can't come because it's 8 o'clock here where we are and it's bedtime. So all the parents are putting the kids to bed.
Yeah.
Good for them. Hopefully it works. Yeah, exactly. So anyways, thank you so much for coming to this. Hi, Anita. Coming to this live IG. Hey, Jorge, how are you? And we want to share with parents what it's like to survive in school. For autistic people, school is pure survival mode. Do you agree? Exactly. So, yeah. So why don't we introduce you? You are my superstar. So I'm going to just let you take the stage, tell everyone who you are, and a little bit of your background and your story, blah, blah, blah. Okay, go ahead.
Ini boleh pakai bahasa Indonesia campur-campur atau gimana?
It's up
Or
to you.
English? Okay.
I think, let's see. Who are we? I think I have mixed audience. I think mostly English. And then if we kind of spill a couple of Indonesian words, I think it's fine. Yang enaknya aja. Okay, go ahead.
Actually use both.
Yes, so, exactly.
Nama saya Gita. I'm Gita. And I am actually an entrepreneur for the last 11 years in both New York and Indonesia. Jadi backgroundku sebelumnya itu adalah aku seorang profesional di Fortune 500 companies dan juga pernah intern di Wall Street. Overall, been pretty much about business development and also about entrepreneurship. Built several companies. Yang pertama gagal because that's life. And I was just a bad CEO. I didn't know what I was doing. I still don't know what I'm doing. And that's been my very quick condensed life story. Dan aku itu baru didiagnosa autistic tahun lalu. So it's been new, tetapi ternyata menurut keluargaku mereka itu sudah tahu ada sesuatu yang agak off. Apalagi ibuku sebenarnya waktu aku masih nggak bisa conversation umur 7 tahun, that was when she really got it checked out. So my mom knew at 7 years old something's up because I couldn't answer questions and I just didn't respond to people in a way, you know. Jadi unfortunately dia saat itu adalah imigran di Amerika. Dia bahasa Inggrisnya masih benar-benar basic dan dia nggak ngerti aja waktu ngomong sama dokter. So back then my mom was an immigrant in the United States. She couldn't really speak. So she literally didn't understand what doctors were saying, quite literally. That was a big problem. So that's why actually it didn't keep getting diagnosed or it kept getting taken care of because of that. Because ibuku memang nggak bisa aja saat itu ngomong sama orang. So that's what's fun.
You know, when I was a little girl, you know, it's funny because we swapped. You came here and went to school in America. And trying to survive school here in America. And I went to school in Indonesia until I was 19. Okay. So back then, really, people didn't really know much about any type of disabilities, learning challenges. You know, I went to a very well-known Catholic school, and you either do or you die. You know, like very strict, uniform head to toe, and there is really no way around it. So you're just expected to perform at school and get good grades or like else, you know. So when you were in school, let's talk about the learning part.
Okay.
So when you were in school, I don't know why there's like noise. Maybe it's my headset. Let me just take, okay. So I was saying that when you were in school, of course, the learning challenges were really, really difficult. Do you remember the learning part? Did you have any subjects that was a little bit easier for you, or was it hard across?
Okay. So what's interesting in this talk is that I'm talking to a psychologist right now who's autistic, and I am just learning myself as an autistic person. So this has been fun. Learning.
But you're studying to be a psychologist. You're getting a psychology degree, so
yeah, that's true. Yeah. Okay. Basically, when I was growing up, like I said, my mom knew something was up because one, I wasn't speaking until I was 3, and then I couldn't have conversations until I was 7-ish. But even then, I would just have periods where I don't talk at all, and it could be 6 months. It's really long. And I also never look at people in the eye or anything. And I see in my own world that is so hard that I end up not even learning things. Like, I mean, I just didn't follow the world, I guess. And what happened was, I was living in the US until I was about 7. No, actually, I was living in the US for longer. And then I moved to Indonesia for 5 years. In 5 years, I changed schools 5 times. I don't know what this says about me. And I didn't pass grades sometimes. So I'm actually older than the rest of my class. So everyone thought, both in the US and Indonesia, that I was an idiot. Because it was really late to reading. It was really late to math. It was late for everything. But the one person that believed in me was my brother, who actually kept saying, no, she's not dumb. She's just really cool. So that's why she doesn't want to connect with people. I was like, what? Because people are boring. And I didn't have friends, so he would just take me along with him everywhere. It's him, I wouldn't have confidence. So there was something that was strange, which is despite looking for everyone as if I'm backwards and I don't know what I'm doing, I was shockingly good at copying things. So for example, I can copy almost anything, and I still can until now. I can find patterns. So for example, it takes me only about 1 minute to read 1,000 words and remember it.
That's amazing.
So I was able to memorize so many things. And another thing is, if people talk, I can mimic them and also say exactly what they just said. So at the age of 9 years old, I already understood the basics of macroeconomics because I listened to my dad practicing his economics lecture. He was a professor. So that part, when people went, that's weird. Like, how does one the other? And basically, I experienced abuse both in the US and Indonesia. People always think US is better in everything, right? But actually in the US, in the 80s, it was in the 80s, in the 80s, they were very confused. They were like, we think it's some kind of disability. She has to go to the special school. So I went to the special, where they tried to slow down how they taught. But the way they slow it down, I actually knew what they were saying the entire time. I'm just not repeating it back. Right?
Your output is different.
yes, my output was
Right.
just different. I'm not slow.
Right.
It's just I
Exactly.
chose, nor
Right.
can I say something back.
Right.
So that was a problem. And then I went to Indonesia. Dan di Indonesia sebenarnya sama. Jadi di United States aku itu dimasukin ke special classroom karena dianggap
Right.
bego. Terus udah gitu waktu di Indonesia aku nggak masuk special classroom, tetapi masih tetap dianggap bego karena nih anak kok susah banget nulis, susah banget baca. Tetapi anehnya kalau misalnya diminta repeat sesuatu, bukannya aja sangat bisa persis sama, sampai mannerism guru itu bisa aku copy. Jadi cara dia pakai body language itu bisa aku copy almost exactly.
That's amazing.
Right?
Yeah.
But it didn't make sense, ya kan? Jadi basically waktu di Indonesia, saking jeleknya aku perform, aku itu harus repeat grades dan juga basically selalu nomor 30 dari 30, nomor 50 dari 50. You know, it's like, jadi susah banget.
Yeah, so okay, hang on. We need to translate. So let me. Okay.
What I said was in Indonesia, what happened was I was either always dead last, like number 30 out of 30 students, number 50 out of 50 students,
right,
and that, or I either just didn't pass. So I changed schools 5 times in 5 years. As my family tried to figure out what is going on. But there was one teacher actually that changed it, because before that, even in the US, I was bullied. In Indonesia, for sure, I was bullied. They called me dumb, idiot. One person threw a ball at my head and it hit it. And I didn't cry. I just stood straight. I was always like that, you know? And so they beat me up. They punched me in the face, trying to get me to like react, but I didn't. I just not. And then a teacher also banged a 1,000-page book on my head and said,
"Gosh,
like, you know." And then a teacher, a ruler, like my hands in a ruler, and just started beating it because she really wants me to say something. And then after that, they made me literally pick up actual shit to humiliate me in front of people and said, well, say something. And I didn't. So I just picked up shit. And that's it. And what they don't realize is the entire time, I actually know everything that's going on. Tapi, unlike the rest of the world, I didn't want to say something. And I don't know why it was problem for people to realize that some people will just not react the way they want them to be. That's it. That was 2 people made a difference. One is my brother kept saying to everybody, I think she's just smarter. That's why she doesn't want to talk to you, because you're boring. And this is from a kid. And everyone's like, huh? No, she's really dumb. And my brother's like, no, I think she's too smart, so she doesn't want to talk to you. And I was like, thanks, brother. And another one is actually teacher. It was one math teacher, because everyone got so frustrated saying she's just so dumb, she doesn't understand math. And the way he did it was, he said, you're not dumb. I think you just, and this is an Indo teacher, this is an Indonesian teacher, like not American, Indonesian teacher. He came up to me and he said, I think I know that you know everything that I'm saying. You just don't want to talk. Maybe you're shy. And I said, and I'm just like, And then he said, and I also don't think you're dumb, but I think you might want to learn a little differently. So let me experiment with how to teach you. Can you tell me if you like it? Just go like this or like this.
Aw, that's amazing.
And they found out that turns out I was really talented. And so if things are different, they're done differently. Suddenly it was like this. And I ended up ranking in a national exam as number 2 in the entire South Georgia.
That is amazing. That is really, so you had and still have someone who is a game changer, you know. And you know, in the old days, parents, family members, they just try to support you the best that they can.
Yeah, it's not their fault.
You know, they're exactly, but like your brother, you know, and I had my mom who I think she sensed that I was a little different because I had a tough time learning to read. Like I remember I have very clear memories of my mom after work sitting down with me trying to teach me to read. And of course, no one else knew this because I could mimic people really well. And I'm smart in the way that I know which friend I could hide behind, and I would let this friend do the talking for me. So I don't know if you know this. Yes, I'm really good friends with Becky Tumewu. Do you know her, Becky?
Yeah, that's
So
so
anyways,
random.
she's like you, like people know you guys there in Indonesia, but you know, she has a very outgoing, robust, super friendly. She was born a star. Let me just put it like that. She's still a star, right? And we were friends since she was 5. Like we literally, we shared the same birthday, and she would let me just tag along with her, you know. And I just knew I was smart in that I knew like who I could mimic, who I could hang out with, and they will just like do all the work for me, basically, socially, right? So did I get better? Absolutely. Just like you know, once we had some, I guess, acceptance, the feeling of acceptance that someone believed in us, we both figured things out. Like I learned to read. My mom took me everywhere. She took me to work. She helped me with my homework. She, like one time, she took me to a traditional pasar, Indonesian market that, you know how smelly and slimy and all that, right? Like, wait, but I almost passed out. I had a sensory overload and I almost passed out. And there was a crate of an egg crate. I like got so dizzy and the world was closing down. I sat on it and broke all the eggs. And my mom just quietly paid for the eggs. And that was the one time she took me, and never again, but she took me to the supermarkets instead.
I see. Where it's more structured, organized, right?
Yeah. But it's just that we need people in our lives who would not give up on us, right? Like they still, my mom still set expectations for me. She wanted me to learn, but she just made adjustments, you know. And I think you experienced that. And I think that's really important for parents here. I think we have a lot of people here. If you are parents or if you're professionals working with special needs kids, you really have to learn to see it from this little kid's perspective. Yeah. Because we're just very different. We're still different. You and I are still different, right? Yeah.
So I think
go ahead.
Sorry. I think one thing that people
go ahead.
Different is not bad. Just because someone is not you does not make that person bad, because you are not the standard. You don't have to be the standard, right? So I think the problem is people see me back then and was like, can't talk, can't learn to write, can't learn to read, can't do this, can't do this. They actually saw all the things I cannot do. And the difference is the people who made me bloom were the people who saw what I can do. Turns out I can do many things, but not the things people want me to do. So it's very different, right? Very different lens. And with my parents, the reason why I immediately talk about my brother was because I empathize with my parents now. When my parents were immigrant in the United States, my mom could barely speak English. how do you deal with that? And she
Right.
did say she became very sad for a very
Of
long
course.
time. I wouldn't look at her in the eye, so she thought I didn't love her. She actually thought, how bad of a mom am I that my own child doesn't even want me? You know, that's how she looked at it. For her, she's never seen it before. And you have to empathize. Parents are just humans with children. Parents are not, you know, gods or anything like that. They're just people trying to do their best. And the problem is, at the time, maybe because I'm young, right? I wanted my parents to be the way I want them to be. Yet there they are, just trying, because they're not me. They're just independent people. And so for me, I now empathize with them. So my mom, dulu, she used to like get mad very easily. Yeah, of course. Or she would get depressed. My dad would get sad, or what he ended up doing was, okay, is really silent. What if I just, this is funny, what if I just take her to listen to basketball games with me? And
I love it.
Yeah. And I make her think in her way. Karena it's that she really likes repeating stuff. So what he did was funny in that he would tell me stats like, okay, rebound is this, this. And then the next time there's a game, my dad said, hey, Boston Celtics versus Lakers, what was the score? And I would go, 102. And then you. And that small thing actually gave me a lot of confidence, because it made me go, okay, I have some value here in life, you know? And always my teacher who was always going, Kan, she's so smart, right? He just didn't see what I cannot do. He didn't see, he didn't concentrate on my troubles. He concentrated on me.
Well, I think it was really cool that your dad figured out a different way to connect with you, you know, and it's very interesting. I didn't know about this sports thing because my dad did the same thing. I remember watching Muhammad Ali, watching soccer, like badminton when I was a little girl, you know, and actually I think it was very similar, you know, like my dad is typically very stoic, and I think we actually share this very similar neurology, like very rigid, black and white thinking. But I think sports was the way that I could, like, you know, I think I told you I had number dyslexia. Like I flunk all of my math. That was not my thing. Coding was not my thing. But the funny thing is, when it comes to sports, you can ask me anything and I will. When it comes to statistics, sports, that gave me the framework, you know. And another funny story, when I applied for US citizenship, and you know, you have to go for the interview, right? And so I went into the room, and for some reason, the interviewer, the officer, for some reason, we just started talking about American football. And I basically named every American football because I was into it, you know. And he was like, check, she can be a US citizen. Like, I passed. He didn't even ask me all those questions that I studied for. The history, American history, the meaning, how many stars on the flag, you know, what does that mean? Nope. We just started talking about football.
They're like,
and then that was how I passed and became a US citizen, you know. So so for the parents here, it's very important to really find a special interest, right? So Gita and I have sports, autism, psychology, you know, like help your kids develop passion. Because it could be the reason that we wake up in the morning because we have something to look forward to, right?
Yes, yes, yes. Because the problem is when everyone, why fit in? Yeah, yeah. Actually, when you're in a system, and I'm saying this for both United States and Indonesia, because what happened in the States was they tried to make me be normal. It said, no, you sit down. They actually literally me to be normal. And then when I was in Indonesia, they didn't have to force me. I was just so tired of being beaten up, having books banged on my head, being slapped by teachers and people. Like I would go home and cry. My dad would ask me, Gita, how is school? Gita, gimana sekolah? And I would say, bego, goblok, tai, anjing, because the things that people said to me. So I just repeated what people said to me, which is, you're an idiot, asshole, go die. Like, you know, you're the dumbest person. And I would repeat it to my dad, and my dad would just, supposedly, now I know, call my auntie and my mom and cried, because he would go, why would anyone do that to a human being? You know, my dad was so emotional about it, because my dad then started thinking and keep going, like, you're so beautiful, like, in your heart. You know, he's maybe not the way people think. And that was when he really started, like, I'm going to accept you the way you are, you know, because he couldn't stand people just being so mean that I had to be changed school 5 times in 5 years. So
that I can't believe it.
No, it's nuts. Actually, I was so traumatized that I forgot on purpose. Like, on purpose, I just tried to go to memory, because I was like, that's crazy.
It's scary.
But at 14 years old, I guess it took me about 14 years to copy people. To go, I'm going to take a little bit of her. I'm going to take a little bit of him. I'm going to take a little bit of him. And this is how I'm going to talk. And this will be my way of finally reaching to the world. Because the problem with also standing out so much is you feel like you can't touch people. You can't reach people. And for me, I was begging. I wanted to reach. Like, I want to say,
you want to belong. You have a sense of belonging.
But this is my planet, and you're in that planet. Why can't we just hang out in each other's planets, you know? So I put on this thing, and then at 14 years old, I started talking and having conversations that made sense. And my mom was just so shocked, like, and that was when people thought she's normal now, but actually I never was. I just now know how to, like, touch people, right? Like, to connect, to be.
Well, you figure out how to mask. That's called masking.
I mask myself. And I still do until now, but it doesn't mean I'm not me. The content is still me. I'm still saying what I want to say, but I have to say it in a certain way for people to connect with me. And what people don't realize, yes, it's as a skill set, it's pretty great, but it's very exhausting. Like, my heart rate is at 80 to 90, up to 100 sometimes, and my resting heart rate is actually only 50. But the work I'm so, like, I so want to be in your planet and play and hang out with people. That's all.
I know. This is the heartbreaking part, I think, when, you know, I was trained as a psychologist. I work with autistic kids, and I used to think 30 years ago that the only way to help autistic children is to somehow change their behaviors and make them look the same like neurotypical kids. And I didn't know by doing that, it would cost them their mental health. Not to mention that they feel awful because, you know, they grew up thinking, what's wrong with my way? Why is your way better than my way? You know what I mean? And I just I wasn't aware of that. But
this is the myth about autistic people, how neurotypicals always say, well, you're autistic, you shouldn't want to have friends, you know, and that's not true, because we do want to hang out with people. We want to do it in our like ways, you know, we want to be accepted. I would love to just have a friend who will be okay if we just sit and binge on Netflix and we don't have to talk to each other, for example, right?
Actually, so one of my first friends, I have the first two were this girl named Hannah, who literally just let me hang out with her and not say anything, as she helped me meet my dolls, because my dolls were organized so well by colors and like shark and dinosaur, that she was like, okay, I guess this is who she is. And she before she left, my mom gasped, because coming from someone who just doesn't talk at 9 years old, her and said, I like you, you're my friend. And then she went, what? And then afterwards, Santi, I don't know if she's on this live, but when Santi first came up to me, I was 12, and I was just, you know, by myself at lunch. And she came on and said, you don't really talk, do you? And I went, and then she said, I have an idea. We're friends. We can eat lunch together and let's go together. And I go, you know, and what's really cool is she never expected me to be anything, you know? Yeah. Because in my way, I don't want to talk. Sometimes it's not even I don't want to. I can't.
You just like, don't have the capacity.
But I can't, like, because what's going on in the brain and what's, you know, marinating in there physically can't come out as words. Right. So I'm just there. But the thing is, I'm very aware what people are doing. I know if they're calling me dumb. I know if they're calling me idiot. I know if they punch
how
me
they see how they perceive you.
Yes, I know exactly. No, it's not even. They literally tell me, Gita, you're so dumb. And I'm like, I know what you're saying, by the way. I'm just not responding. You know, and it made me think about, why is the world so noisy, actually? Why do people always have to say something? Like, why do people have to make judgments and speak? And here's a weird thing, and that this is my feeling. This is the way I view the world. How come people like to talk about opinions on things they don't even really know? As someone
I know
so much, because I love books. I read like 60 to 100 books a year. I would not. It's so strange for me. Why do I have to talk about something I don't even really know? Like, I'm not going to talk to a scientist and debate on something I'm not a scientist. Like, but I swear so many people in this world just have to talk. And because we're children who didn't talk, suddenly we're weird or we're bad. No, maybe we're just more thoughtful, and we just literally talk to you.
So for parents here who have non-speaking children, Gita and I would like to remind you, just because your kids are non-speaking, it doesn't mean they don't understand. So please stop talking about them in front of them. Stop posting videos of them crying on social media.
Yes. I know exactly what people were doing, by the way. Like, I know exactly what my mom said to people, why she's not talking? I'm like, I know. I'm here, right?
It doesn't feel good. And also, I think for parents here, parents have to know, like, autistic people are very sensitive. I think we're very, in Indonesian language, it's called peka. You know what I mean? Like, when someone walks into the room, before they open their mouth, we also already feel their energy. You know, we have a really good sense. We read people well. That's what neurotypicals don't know. Actually, we autistic people really have that ability, you know. So if you're not being true, if you're faking it, if you're a teacher and you're just saying, good job, good job, good job, like do this, and you don't mean it, your kids know for real. Right?
People always say, like, we don't have empathy, but I wonder if people actually think, is it possible that people express and see empathy differently? But of course, a lot of people want empathy done only one way, right? They don't think that empathy can be different forms. For example, I can watch a documentary and just start crying over a whale.
Right.
And then just donate like an insane amount of money to whale causes, and then go deep dive on killer whales, which I did, by the way, and then just get to know the entire like species. Like that's different. Or like when one thing that people have commented a lot on me is a lot of people usually don't really like talking to me about their feelings or whatever, because what happens a lot is I'll ask them actually beforehand. I tend to ask something, which is, do you want me to listen, or do you want me to give a potential solution? Because the way I look at life is actually quite organized, right? And I don't assume people want solutions, because you have to clarify that. And so if my friend goes, can you just listen to me? I'm like, done. And then I just don't say anything. I don't go, you know, dulu, like my auntie was like feeling the same. Like, I don't do that. I'm just like, okay. And then if they go, I want a solution, I'm like, okay. I would actually clarify every step of their feeling, because I need to know actually, why did you end up that way? I don't impose like my viewpoint on them, like a meaning on them, you know, because I don't know, right? And that's a way of empathy in some way, right? So I will go, okay, and you're scared of losing your job because of what? And they're like, loss of income, obviously. I'm like, understand. Loss of income as in then you cannot buy food. And they go, well, not that. Well, okay, it's different. And then I go, okay, different in the sense, what is the worst that can happen? And actually a lot of times when people go down the logic tree, they go, well, the worst thing that can happen, like I ended up getting another job after a month because I got another offer. Just like, I guess, scared. And I went, okay, how do you want me to help you with feeling scared? And they go, oh, I don't know. Like, do you want to, like, a hug? And I go, cool. And then I'll
just be direct. Just you know what I mean? Be direct both ways. Right?
Yeah. I mean, it's a different way of looking at the world. And here's the thing. Just to clarify, yes, I am gifted in pattern recognition and doing certain things, but doesn't make all autistic people that way, right? I think what makes autistic people gifted isn't if we're geniuses or Rain Man. It's actually how we see things. It's just different. And if you try to see things our way, which I think she's just different. Let me see her planet. Like, I want to see how she looks at stuff. Let me ask her more questions rather than telling her something, right? Like, think of it from a personal point of view. Every person loves talking about themselves, obviously, right? So why don't people do that to autistic people? Just let them, like, be in their world. Like, we might not talk about ourselves, but we are telling you who we are by other things. You have to see it. Like, for example, what I used was literally talk stats, like statistics, like GDP of Indonesia is blah blah blah. And then my dad would go, thank you. And I go,
so you are so right when you said that this world is very noisy. right? People are noisy to us. Now, if you're parents of autistic kids or you're adults working with autistic kids, even though you're well intentioned, you add to the noise, you know, because you just want to have a well-behaved kid. You want a kid who can learn, you know, so you just constantly like this, like all the time. That doesn't help. That doesn't help. Now, we haven't talked about sensory differences, right? We haven't talked about that because that is the kind of noise that there's nothing we can do. There's nothing mom and dad can do to help. There is nothing the autistic person can do because there will always be light, noise, dog barkings, just noise.
Touch,
you know,
feeling,
touch, right?
Yeah.
So what are some examples of your sensory challenges? You go first and I can add to it. We can have a long list.
It's quite long. Okay.
I know, it's quite long.
One thing people who know me can find out about me very quickly is I always walk around with earphones. I've been doing it for a very long time. I walk around with earphones for two reasons. One, it's noisy. Two, and this is before I knew I was autistic. It's just who I am, right? It's noisy. And two, I kind of like that people don't come up to me. So it's nice. So I can just walk around in like my space. And for us, it's just rather than saying it, what's wrong with you? How come like light and everything bothers you? You're so sensitive. Why can't you go, wow, that's so cool that you're that sensitive? Like, how can I help? You know, do I turn off, you know, do I like turn off the music? Do I do this? So until now, I don't go to live music, many things, right? Like I go to a concert maybe like once every 2 years, but it has to be a band that not only do I like, I'm obsessed. It has to be a level of obsession that I know every single member's like statistics.
It has to be like you want to do it. You don't want to go out of your comfort zone.
Yes, but very planned. And I always like the seat that is way up high. So I'm not in the middle of a mosh or something. And it's just a lot of things are a lot. Like, so light, changes in just things that I can't control. So I walk around a mall and suddenly there's like live music or like there's something, just a lot, or touch, like my clothes have to be a certain feel. It can't just be. I wear the same almost all the time.
Right.
Because
it has to be tagless. It has to be tag. I have asked a stranger at the airport, si Mas, to cut my tags. It bothered me so much. So I approached a stranger, like, can you please cut my tags? You know? So yeah, for little kids, if you have little kids and suddenly your kids get really cranky. Actually, I tell all of my clients, if possible, you know, you just help your kids to get used to putting on sunglasses to block the sunlight, and ear defenders. Just start it as early as possible. Mask is the same. You know what? I love walking around with a mask now because if I talk to myself, no one would know. So I talk to myself all the time now with my mask on. It's great.
Like, why didn't I do this my entire life?
Exactly. You know, it's so awesome, you know?
Yeah.
Exactly. So,
yeah. Like, but I think another thing I don't like hearing is when people go, oh, but like autism didn't exist back then. I'm like, actually it did, but the sensory was different. It's like, if I live in a like nowhere, you know, I don't live in a city where there's not a lot of like sensory light everywhere. Like if I live in a farm somewhere far away, like they did back then. It's beautiful. And actually, when I am in a lot of quiet, I feel super great. And no, I don't break down. No, nothing happens to me. I end up doing a lot of amazing, productive work.
Yeah.
Cool, right?
I actually love traveling solo. I really love that. I love just having my own room, and I love that. I really miss that. I love taking photos, you know? Yeah, where I can sit in the dark. I would love that, you know? So I think was one of those little girls who was very quiet, where you would put me in the playpen and I would just play with objects by myself for hours and hours. I would not bother anyone. And but I think the sensory challenges were there. Driving is very hard for me.
I can't drive.
I've been in numerous car accidents.
No,
Here in America, you can't have a driver.
No, I know. But I like literally, I can't make that connection. Yeah. Like in a very literal sense. Like I don't know what's going on there. I've tried. I also can't really use, I have some like executive functioning, like so on the executive functioning part, you know, between I'm actually in the middle. I'm not I think like between 1, 2, 3. I'm actually a 2. So fork and knife they're really hard for me. So I don't eat things with a knife. Like, you know, or like spoon.
Finger foods.
Do spoon like this. I have to do spoon like this. It's been something or even opening boxes. Opening things are shockingly like hard. Like I have to think. I can't just like, hi. I'd be like, And so people find it funny that they're like, how is it that you create fancy financial models and like decks and like can talk about business and like can talk about like politics and do like 2 masters at the same time, but you can't open a jar. And I'm like, I'm different. Can you help me now, please?
Yeah, exactly. Well, you know, I think if people here can really think about how they can really embrace their kids' differences, that's really important. Because for your kids to grow up to be like people like Gita and me, who we own our challenges, like that's part of us, you know. Some days sucks, like I haven't even put my feet down on the floor. I know it's not going to be a good day because my brain is not right. I don't know if you have days like that. I have like almost 2 weeks. It's a sensory like meltdown, like burnout, like just, it's like, you know, where you feel like you're moving in the mud, but the mud is here. Like you're just, you're fighting, you're trying to get through your day, and it's really hard. It's really hard.
Really those hard days.
That's sensory differences, you know. And that's not going to go away. It's a cycle. It really is. It's a cycle. So I think for little kids to grow up really knowing, okay, today's not going to be a good day. I'm going to need to ask people for help. You know what I mean? That's really important. And hopefully find people who can support you, I guess. It's
people
important.
Who don't give up, actually.
Yeah, like your brother. My husband and my kids are great, I think.
Yeah.
Because they support me.
Yeah.
They will actually lock me up in the bedroom so I could just sit in the dark.
Your own world. My husband, it's so nice.
It's very nice.
Yeah, my husband just kind of goes, Gita needs her 8 hours by herself. And it's nice. My little study, which I have, is really quiet because I made it be. And so I'm just here. But one thing that's interesting also is a lot of people have said that how come it looks like you're just you're very childlike, you know? But actually, that's a really big part of me that I really like.
Yeah.
Like I for
Yes.
some maybe I don't gimana ya? I do get anxious about things. I do like worry about things, but I don't it's how do I explain it? Basically, for the most part, I'm pretty in the moment because for me, I always see the world as if I've never seen it before, and that's cool. I get the same stuff. Like, also, this is just like my habit thing. I eat the same stuff like 5 times a week, and I'm totally okay with it. But what's weird is every time I taste it, it tastes like I've never had it. And so people are always so confused that they're like, didn't you just have that chicken nugget yesterday? And I'm like, it's so good. And they're like, but it's the exact same thing. I'm like, yeah.
We are a proud chicken nugget family. Yeah. Yeah. Exactly.
Like,
exactly.
Yeah.
Yeah. We're actually no fuss people. Like my son would eat chicken nuggets once or twice a day, and I let him. And I let him make it. We make homemade chicken nuggets, you know, and I ask him, so when you have an 18th birthday party, what are you going to serve at your birthday party? Because, you know, he usually just eats chicken nuggets. And he said, I'm going to serve chicken fingers. That's what he said. Graduating from chicken nuggets to chicken fingers. Chicken strips.
There is this great question. How do you feel with transition between school, university, and career? And just really quickly, there was another question before that, which is their child is still nonverbal until the age of 8. We kind of covered that, which is try to see things in their way, which is, it's not hard. It's freaking hard because my mom didn't know what was going on. But when my brother tried to see it, which is, you know what, I'm not going to make her talk. I'm just going to connect with her in her way because she's actually talking. She's just not talking the way I want her to. So I think that's trial and error. And I want to encourage people to never feel bad that that it's hard. It's obviously not your fault. It's not that person's fault. It's just 2 different people from 2 different planets literally trying to like, but for the transition between school and university, what was very interesting was school is not just hard because of their standardized way of like learning, right? You learn this way, okay? But it's also because there's social things that happen in school, like kids bullying each other and doing anything, right? Like, and they're like, I don't understand. Now there's a clique. Why is there a clique? How come this happened? How come this happened? I'm so confused. And because of that, that's why I was changed schools like 5 times in 5 years, because I didn't understand the social system in a school. Like, I just don't understand why people would be mean to someone for no reason. That's weird. So for school, honestly, I lucked out. I met friends. I met Santi was the big person who changed things, right? She was like, I'm just by your side, even though you're weird. In fact, I like you because you're weird. You know, it's like, cool.
Yeah.
No, it's true. It's cool. And she changed things for me. I just needed that one person. But honestly, that's luck. I wish people really like the best. That's why it's so important to teach other children the beauty of children who are different, because it can add richness to that child's life too, right? Not just you're not doing autistic children too. She really liked that I just looked at things differently, give different perspective, you know? And I switched to university. Strangely, I did better because in university they let me do something I like. So I was passionate about statistics, and politics and economics, because there's a lot of like stats in them. So and psychology in them, right? Behavioral economics, also like the study of public policy making and understanding, like, and I can go deep into something. So university was oddly good. Also, it's very important to go to the right university, because my university, University of Chicago, a lot of people, I think they might have been neurodiverse. I don't know. But they let you have your space, and they also were so hardcore with what they were doing that we were fine talking to each other for like days, right? Like we're like, all right, bye, right?
Exactly. People just come and go. Yeah.
Yeah. So you have to see the personality of the school. That's so important. But the career part, I'm not gonna lie, it was super hard. I'm actually in shock that I did pretty well, and I think
you did awesome. Come on.
Thank you. I did pretty well, only in certain things, and that's so important to find out not just the thing that the autistic person likes, but also the environment that the person likes. I went into entrepreneurship because I physically don't think I could handle more corporate like system. The system for basically if something is not truly logical in a systematic like way, it's just weird. So I switched and made my own world, right? I was like, this is how I'm gonna make a company culture now. This is how I'm gonna like make a company. This is how we're gonna run. And I built it according to me. But I also wouldn't be able to build that without like all the training, all the things I did. And that, to tell you the truth, it's like both, it's hard work, but it's also a lot of luck and timing. And I'm very sorry that that's the way it is, but that's just life. And so number one thing is not to like wait until that autistic person becomes a CEO. Like suddenly it's like, oh my God, Gita, like be like her, like be like a CEO. I'm like, what the hell, right? It's actually, it doesn't matter where you are in life, whether you want to be a CEO or someone who got fired or someone like an intern or like whatever. Because I never take it for granted I can fall at any time because it doesn't matter. Life just kind of goes like this. So what matters is not this part. What matters are the people who are here holding on to you the whole time and going, I love you, whatever you are.
No matter what. Yeah. Well, you know, as my husband says it, life is never a dull moment with you. So I take it as a compliment. Right. Oh. It's a family. It's like a circus family. But hey, that's our normal. And for the parents and for the neurodivergent people, if you guys are listening to this recording, I think Gita and I can say that you do you and you be you and you arrive in your own time.
Yes.
Right?
And I think universal. Like, I think that's a very universal feeling of when is my time? But you'll always arrive in your own time, whenever and whatever form that is. There's no, that's why I don't believe also in the concept of success or failure, because like, I've gone bankrupt. I've like been fired. I've, been a CEO. I've raised millions of dollars. I've also like lost a company. Like I've like, but I was the person the whole entire time actually. And the people who really cared and loved me saw me for who I am at all times. So actually the one thing that hopefully having neurodivergent kids will ever teach you is this concept of unconditional acceptance, not just love, but acceptance of like, you know what, up, down, left, front, back, like I'm here for you because I appreciate you as a person. And
and your kids are, sorry, I was just going to say that autistic people are the most resilient people on this planet Earth. No, seriously. When we can't do it because our brain is not right that moment, our body's not right, we just find a way to do it. You know what I mean? So I hope that this conversation can help parents and people who work with autistic kids to really appreciate their autistic kiddos, because this earth is, they need autistic people. They need neurodivergent people. So
I don't see why
that's the way it is. Exactly.
No one standard of living. Like, wouldn't you want to see like colorful flowers in a garden? Wouldn't you want to see only one kind of flower in an entire garden? Don't you want to see a botanical garden and like a rainforest? That's cooler, I think.
Exactly. Awesome. Well, it's so cool to talk to you. I can't wait to meet you in Jakarta. I am going home, pulang kampung, Julie. I already bought my tickets. So, so hopefully we can meet each other in person. And, you know, I'm going to talk to you next Monday to plan for our, okay, so let's tell everyone the plan. So Gita and I is part of this team for autistic Indonesian autistic adults who will be leading the first neurodiversity paradigm seminar, April 10th, online. So that's what we're cooking up for you guys. So stay tuned. Well, thank you guys. Happy weekend. Yay. Bye. Thank you so much, you guys. Bye. Have a good weekend. Bye-bye. Thanks, Gita. Good job.